Afternoon, Tata.
Afternoon.
It's an video on that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Means
Yeah.
take care of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Others they take 10.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, here we are.
Yeah. No, thank you for your time. Si kwinyanga kaMandela, nyanga kaJuly. And inkumbuza yena nezinwele zakho ezinwele zibukreyika. And I think irrelevant uba yo sithethe nengwevu kwinyanga. And then abantu they can be able to ukuthi bafumane what ingwevu can actually share. So one of the things that I was interested to know yindlela that you grew up with, and where were you born, and the way that you grew up, your siblings, and how was your early age, and the choices that you have made. Because remember, our podcast is attached to the power of decision.
Okay.
So I'm sure maybe abanye abantu baye bathi ngendlela ndakhula ngayo ndaphela decide this.
Yes.
So and that influences sometimes indlela umuntu akhule ngayo, and nendlela outcome yempilo yakhe happens because of the decisions that they make in that period of the background and birth. So I'm interested to know velaphi wapi.
Well, I was born in Gugulethu.
Wow, Cooksburg.
There's a big place called Gugulethu.
In a history, can I
was born in Gugulethu.
Wow.
In a family of 8.
Okay.
And I'm number 7.
Yo.
Yes, I'm nearly the last born.
Okay.
I'm nearly the last born. And in a very close-knit family.
Okay.
And that 8 is not just 8.
Wow.
It's 7 men and 1
Whoa! I can imagine.
So
7 boys and 1 girl.
I grew up with 6 brothers who were older than me.
Yeah.
And we grew up without a father most of the time.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, definitely different stages.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, who was number 7, my father died when I was 7.
7 years old.
7 years old.
Yeah.
And at the time, he was 52 years old.
When he passed on?
When he passed on.
Okay.
I was 52 years old. My mother was 44.
Okay.
And by then, she already had 8 children.
Yeah.
At 44.
Yo, man. So she started early then?
Yeah. At 44, she had 8 children, and we really grew up with clear discipline from my father for the 7 years that I can remember.
Okay.
But also with clear leadership from him.
Okay.
Father was a great man. He was one of the few African people who held senior positions in industry.
Okay.
He worked for a company called R.H. Morris. It was a construction company.
Okay.
And he was a timekeeper.
Wow. Okay. Before the companies that we know now.
Absolutely.
Greenacres
and all the others,
yes.
Power construction
yes.
and so on. He was a timekeeper and someone who I've never seen in the 7 years. I've never seen my father wearing another color shirt except a white shirt.
Wow.
I've never seen him for all those years.
Wow.
He only wore a white shirt, a white shirt and a tie most of the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes he would just have a white shirt without a tie.
Okay.
And he looked well after us, all of us. He could afford us. He could provide for us.
Wow.
And when I trace back, I do trace back that that's where I've learned how to to look after your family, how to give leadership to your family, and so on. And I would credit. Look, he had his own. All of us have some weaknesses.
For sure. Imperfections.
Never went to church.
Okay.
But I believe he was amongst the greatest Christians I've ever seen.
Okay.
Particularly now that I'm old enough to relate to what I saw.
Sure.
My father, because he worked as a timekeeper, and that would have allowed him to earn some good salary.
Good salary, okay.
Yes, good salary.
Okay.
And the community knew that Utata Umdlane phaya kumabhalane emsebenzini. So with the challenges of the community, people would come to our home to bezoboleka imali. And this is where I believe my father was a great Christian. I mean, he would yayingenzimanga into kuye of giving imali yakhe yokuthenga itikiti yokugqibela. Kumuntu ozoboleka imali amnike yona. Athi awugqiba athume thina uba masombolekele imali before uthenga itikiti lakho. Now this made sense to me later on. But then it was just something that I couldn't understand. Why would you do that? Why don't you just tell me? I deny because I'm not.
I don't have it. The only one I have is for me to go.
Absolutely. Say no msebenzi why.
Say no msebenzi.
And as you would imagine, he died when I was 7, 8 kids. My mother 44, and that's the person who worked very, very hard to bring us up.
Wow.
Because my mother, she had her own business.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Karapintloko namanqina saziwe ekhaya kuthengiswa intloko namanqina.
Amtshona nincedisa.
Well, sawuvuka ngo-6 kusasa. Sawuvuka umlilo sowulapha. Sowulapha umlilo sitsha.
Okay.
And uzawukarabha 300 yamanqina. 100 yentloko a day. Alone. We'll wake up, wash, go to school, come back from school, she's still busy. Help, my other brothers would be the ones who help. Yes, you must remember that I was almost, so most of the time I would run away. Nandla ngophuma kwaMpondo, khona utata kwakusithiwa kwaMpondo phaa. So xa ulapha ekhaya eBhek uyakwazi
uphuma ngapha ekhontreni phaa.
Uthubeleze uyophumela ngapha e-62 ndiyodlala ke. Ndishiya abanye besebenza.
Wow.
Buya ndedwe ke for uba ndibalekile ndodlala. So that's how hard my mother worked.
Okay.
That's why when she was tired, even at her funeral, I spoke and I said, "Hey, udiniwe lo muntu."
Wow.
So benzile lo muntu lo. Khona umuntu okarabha amanqina ayi-300 nenhloko ezi-100 yedwa.
Wow. And ngoku they employ people to do that. It was still happening, but they employ abantu currently.
Usebenzile lo muntu udiniwe lo muntu lo.
And she died at what age?
She died at 78.
Wow, okay.
She died at 78.
So she lived,
No, she lived a very good life, and as you imagine, father died and she had to be the father and the mother at the same time. So she was very hard.
Sure.
She was very hard, and sitsho-ke naxa ndincokola naye ngokusekhulile ke ndithi eyi kodwa wawusimetha wena. Hayi wawusimetha wawusichaphaza. Ndithi awawusichaphaza yayingekho kubetha le nto yakho wayekuchaphaza.
Abantu bakudala punishment was the thing.
Athi ke ngokufuna ukuthini ke ngoku ndithi hayi ndisendichaza nje ndifuna ukwenza into ndiyachaza nje uba wawusibetha
ubona wabuza engathi ufuna uphinda kule.
Uyabona uba awubaphumi laa moya wobetha nakhona umntu nangona sekhulile. So that's where I spent 34 years of my life in Gugulethu. I left Gugulethu when I was 34.
Wow.
After
school and after work?
After school, after university.
So you went to university as well?
Yes, I went to university.
Wow.
But before I went to university, I went to work at Groteskir
Okay.
as a messenger. I joined Groteskir as a messenger because I have a 38-year-old daughter
Yeah.
who was my daughter before marriage.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a young man in Kukuledo.
Yeah.
That's what was happening in Kukuledo. I have all these 6 brothers
Yeah.
who, if I total their kids all over the show, you can see that there's a whole clan here.
Yeah.
And I was the youngest, and I always hold myself in high regard that at least
Oh, you're one. among your siblings.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Some have 3, some have numbers that we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I restrained myself, and I had one who is now 38.
Wow.
Um,
You find out others, but they will say, no, I only know 4. I don't know about others.
Absolutely.
It's actually quite the number.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was actually a betrayal to my father's legacy, because my father only had the 8 of us.
Wow. Wow.
We've never, in the years we've lived, we've never found someone coming to our home and saying, "Ndingumntana lapha."
Oh.
It was just the 8 of us from my mother.
Wow.
And then so when my daughter was when I realized that my girlfriend was pregnant,
Yes.
and I had to make a decision, who's gonna look after this baby?
Yeah.
So at that stage, I had to decide to leave school.
Okay.
I was in matric, I think.
Yeah.
Decided I'm gonna leave school.
Oh, hence you went to protest.
Yes,
because you wanted to
I
take
had
care
to
of
go and work
Catch you.
so that I can take care of my daughter,
Yes.
which I did. And yes, so
Wow.
I did for 14 years, because I got married when she was 14.
Okay.
And unfortunately not to her mother.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was the life.
Which is also just on your dad's. It was not popular that abantu abadala bakudala it was here for abantwana so
No.
and but boys, when they grow up, they actually adopt something that is not even
Not
part
good
of
from him. Yes. Yes. I also think that when I look at the ages of my brother's kids, they all after my dad died.
Oh,
If you think about it.
I get
Yeah.
you. Okay.
So my dad died without any mzukulwana.
Okay.
And when he was gone, and I think my brothers
It was that
felt this was freedom.
It was that situation of it.
Yeah.
And then on the this is a very interesting story, because later on when I talk about Isiseko, which is part of that element, family and all.
Yes.
So when you went to, we can have water actually. When you went to varsity after umsebenzi, what did you choose to do? And what made you decide to choose that career? Because it's also important for whoever that is listening and watching to just to check Babantu, how do they start making choices, and what kind of choices they make, what power of decision they adopt to carry on good careers up.
Now let me just take one step back.
Sure.
My family was a very sportish family.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Our home was a clubhouse.
Okay.
For a rugby team and a soccer team and a netball team.
You are not serious.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
My mother used to wash his keepers a rugby, there's a soccer, there's a netball.
Okay. Was it because of the lot of boys?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay. So boys were participating in different codes.
All.
Okay.
I mean, even if I have to say it myself, I know that if we played football professionally during our time, I would have played professional football.
Wow. Wow.
That I know.
Oh, there was a talent there.
No, people say so. I don't even say so myself.
Ace I would dog out.
And there were 4 of us that played in the A team of our soccer team.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're 4 brothers.
Okay.
Sasithi ke xa singena ebaleni, sawungena ebaleni and ungena kwethu nje ebaleni sizikhethe soba yi-4.
Okay.
And we just pass the ball.
Okay.
Hayi ke.
Yeah.
Hayi ke sithendini. Hayi. So it was my brother number 4, my brother number 5. No, my brother number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8.
Wow.
We're in the same team.
Okay.
And so at some point, and the soccer team was started by my brother number 5.
Okay. So he's the initiator of your team.
Yes, my brother number. No, he was number 4. Oh,
yeah.
Number 5 is my sister.
That's why.
Okay. Number 6. So he was number 4. Yes.
Yeah.
He started this club and which made a lot of impact in the community
at large.
Yes, because there was no crime in our community.
Sure.
People, everyone who was male and female in our community were part of the club.
So that means sports and recreation actually does unite a community, keeps the community busy, especially the youth. Even the rates of crime, etc. is the same.
Absolutely.
And I'm also wanting to be tempted to say, that is why zinabantwana abaninzi ezakuweni awudlala isport.
Absolutely. Now you can link that.
You can link that it is associated
to the sport. I mean, there was just sport. My brother and his emva kwakhe, he was an athlete.
Wow.
And our oldest brother was the South African 400 meters champion.
Was a sprinter?
Was a sprinter.
Wow, man. That's interesting.
Particularly in the Eastern Cape.
Wow.
He's very known in the Eastern Cape.
Okay.
It's a love day.
Oh, okay.
With the minute ungwa Bikwani, Morris, Morris.
Okay. So there's a link between Ikuguletu and the Eastern Cape. Can you take us through that?
Well, our family come from the Eastern Cape, from Lady Frey.
Oh, that was a Lady Frey.
Yes, we come from Lady Frey. Okay. And that's another interesting story which I've just...
Shout out Lady Frey's.
Which I've discovered later that actually, in our family, the Bikwani family, the Bikwani family has Bikwani, Mcetywa, Kambushe, I just can't remember the other surnames, but they are all part of I family Kabunzi.
Okay.
And
Sure.
Now, now that I'm involved in family ministry, or that I'm interested in number, I realize that actually my father is the only Bikwani. Yes, because of that. My father is the only Bikwani that when he left Lady Frey, he took his wife with.
Oh wow, okay. Which is a very unique approach.
He took his wife to Cape Town.
Wow.
And he came to Cape Town and he never set foot back in Eastern Cape.
Okay.
He came to Cape
so
Town.
He was relocating without telling them that actually I'm done.
And now when you look at our families, and you look at what is happening in our families, you can start to see that my father's family became the one that was stable.
Oh, okay.
Until he died.
Wow.
Even after he died.
Okay.
It continued to be a stable family.
So he decided to leave Eastern Cape as a Kappa and has created his own family independently.
Yeah,
so that's a decision that he has made.
Absolutely.
Now, that is going to lead me again to that. I wanted you to hone into your education just quickly about university.
Yes.
Then also couple with that, usichazele nje what purpose about impilo from your perspective.
Yes.
I'm sure it's going to be born out of the choices that you've made where career is concerned.
Let me link with the one step I took because I was going there.
Okay.
And I went into sport and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Because it is in sport that leads to what I've chosen to study at university.
Okay. Which university was it?
University of the Western Cape.
Okay.
Now, during our sporting days, my eldest brother was the chairman of the club because he was the founder.
Sure.
And at some point, I can't remember what happened, but he was no more the chairman, and I became the chairman of the club.
Oh wow! Okay.
Now there is a guy who was a businessman in the taxi industry, owned taxis, and he was a member of our club.
Okay.
And who, when I was chairman, every meeting, he would say to me, "You know what? I hope you're going to study law when you go to university."
Wow, okay.
And I would say to him, "Emawa, why?" He says, No, I see how you chair meetings and so on.
Wow.
And time when I had to go to university came, and I went to study law.
Wow.
And I told, I remember phoning him, "Mama, I'm going to register to study law."
Wow.
And he was so excited. He said, "No, but I told you. I told you that's what you need to study."
And
so,
before Mawawa declared that to you or suggested, we did not have any...
Not really.
At that moment?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really, but law was something that was interesting to me.
Oh, it was fascinating to you.
I remember as a young man, we watched, was it two? We watched some films that had some court in it.
Okay.
We were one of those families that had the Steve Biko video.
Okay.
You know, not everyone had the Steve Biko video.
Sure.
And Sidney Kenrich representing Biko in court and so on. And we used to sit at home and watch it.
With interest.
With so much interest.
Yeah.
And I think those things were one of the ones that led me to the direction. One. Secondly, my younger ages, I was a member of the Pan-Africanist Congress, and you would remember Sobukwe was in law, and also I started being involved when I was at Grooteskier. I started being involved in trade unions. We started the Health Workers Union at Grooteskier with a friend of mine who is still good friend, Dr. Norman Maraj, who at one stage was the chief medical superintendent of Grooteskier, and Josta and Red Cross, I think.
Wow.
So Norman and I started the Health Workers Union when I went to Grooteskier, and he was the chairman of the union. I was the deputy chair of the Health Workers Union.
So for you to participate in unions and in all these activities, and also find yourself in law, is it in you? Are you a person that fights for justice? Would you declare that that justice is one of the things that you fight for?
Well, let me put it differently.
Okay.
I can spot injustice from a distance.
Okay. Then that prompts you to...
Absolutely.
Okay.
I can spot injustice.
Wow.
And I don't just spot it. I spot it and do something about it.
Okay. Why did you not become a politician?
Because I can't lie.
Yeah.
That's a simple reason.
Wow.
And there's still one person that I still believe is a politician who is honest.
Wow.
And that's Thabo Mbeki.
Okay.
I still believe today that this is the only honest politician I know.
Can I add in your list? Can I suggest to Unjenge Holomis? Don't you think? You don't give him the same.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I haven't heard him lying. I mean, I was with him at my sister's funeral just recently. In Tropinva. I told him actually. You know that I was with him many years ago in a plane.
Yeah.
When I was still in corporate.
Sure.
I was sitting with him in business class with my wife, and my 24-year-old daughter was still a few months old, and she was crying in the plane. So he says to me, ungamselisi glass yewine and wamselisa. I just told him when I met him in talking about, yeah, waselisa umntana wewine uthi uphi lo mntana unqanga ndina 24 uthi ndiyathemba kakaseli. So yes, I have nothing that I can say about him that
okay.
Yeah,
fine.
that pushes him towards being.
But your top guy is Uzizi.
My top guy is Uzizi.
Okay.
And yeah, that's a story
for another day.
For another day, yes.
Okay, I'm sure unolanda kumasina namtata ngumfundisi ichomi yakhe ubhale incwadi ubanatata ndimlibele unto kwicabinet yakhe in fact advisor and stuff
Umkhatshwa.
The other one ndimlibele, but it's fine. Mhlawumbi samkhumbula apha endleleni.
Yes.
Fine. So I wanted to also check as we move on in your professional and in career life. I'm sure you've learned some couple of lessons with the corporate and you're always in senior positions. That's what we also know about you. We're just gonna tie it in as well, but what positions without maybe touching much about that, and which are those that they still live with you from that? And how many years were you in corporate again?
I was in corporate for 8, 10, about 13 years.
About 13 years.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, I thought it was gonna say 30.
No.
Wow.
No.
So in those 13 years,
the other years I was not in
fully
corporate as an employee. I could have been in as a consultant.
I get you.
Yes.
I get you.
Yes, but as a full-time employee, it's about 13 years.
Are you saying that the consultant period was born out of the job? So the experience that you got, then you needed you to assist in a consultation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm sure there are a couple of things that you live by, that you've learned, and other things that you say, hey, these ones, I could not take them with from my career in corporate. Hence, I end up consulting and then moving on to what I'm doing.
In fact, I mean, when I look at my story, I always tell people that they must believe David's story in the Bible.
Okay. That
God does take us from being shepherds to become kings.
Wow. If there's no audience, this is a
God does take us from being a shepherd
to be a king,
to become a king.
Okay.
I saw it with my life.
Wow.
I didn't even spend a month without a job after university.
Wow.
Yeah. And when I go back to the work I have done,
did you graduate on the did you finish your law?
I finished my law degree.
Okay,
I nearly didn't finish.
Okay. Activist.
I know I had a problem with Roman law.
Okay.
And I failed Roman law.
Oh, was you questioning the actual law?
I failed the Roman law, and then after failing Roman law, I did it the second year, and I was clear I'm going to pass it. I failed it again, but I had a SAP.
Okay.
And
you a chance.
And I wanted to wash my hands.
Okay.
If it was not for the late Judge Yvonne Mokhoro,
okay,
I would have left.
Okay.
Because I went to her.
Okay.
And she was a professor at the university, and I said, I am leaving law because of Roman law.
Wow.
And she said to me, you are still going to fail Roman law. Your attitude against Roman law will make you to never pass it.
Wow.
You have an attitude.
You had issues around the Roman
you have, and I did. And I did. So probably I changed my attitude.
Okay.
And yes.
Fine.
So I finished my law degree. I did a bioristic degree.
Yeah.
And then I started LLB.
Yeah.
And whilst I was studying LLB on a part-time basis.
Yeah. So sevenza.
Well, at that stage, Ndandisephaye UWC.
Okay.
Because I also worked at the community law center.
Okay, within this institution.
Within the institution,
Sure.
there was a community law center with First Minister of Justice Dala Omar.
Wow.
Dala Omar was our director, and Mbulelo was the deputy director of the community law center. They started the community law center.
Wow. Okay.
So I worked there during that period.
Okay.
And whilst I was at the CLC,
Yeah.
then there was the starting of the CCMA.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
CCMA started, I applied, got interviewed, and got appointed as one of the CCMA commissioners, first group of commissioners.
Wow.
So I left the community law center, went to the CCMA for 2.5 years, because in the first year of the CCMA, there was a company called Rent or Kill.
Yeah.
The pest control
Yes,
company.
yes.
Rent or Kill had a case at the CCMA, and one of their directors represented them, a guy called James Pullen.
Sure.
James attended the case, and at the end of the conciliation, which I was doing for both parties, he said to me, why don't you come and join our company? And I said, no, I'm not interested. And I thought he was trying to bribe me now.
Okay.
So quick. And I said to him, no, I'm not interested. He said, okay, here's my card. The day you want to join a company, phone me.
Okay.
I said, fine. And every second month, James would call me and say,
Have you made up
your mind to come and join us? And I said, no.
Fine.
And then in 1998, because I joined the CCMA in 96 June,
Okay.
and it opened in November 96. And then 98, and once again, joined the CCMA. At the training, I started a union in the CCMA.
That's you in the union.
Yeah, I started a union.
Because you already saw interest is coming.
I saw it. And I said to the guys, we're going to be pushed out here.
Okay.
By these liberals.
Oh wow.
From IMSA and so on.
Yeah.
Because we come from the trade union movement.
Yeah.
We're going to be pushed out. And I said to them, I'm happy to work for the union and leave this thing of being a commissioner.
Wow.
So I started a union called Commission Staff Association, and I'm the founding president
of that union.
Of the CSA.
Wow.
At the CCMA, started a union, and then I became one of the targeted.
I can imagine. Yeah.
By management. I was in the
top of
because someone said to me, the target list of management has you on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do? Let me step down as president, because I still like being a commissioner. I tried to step down.
So yeah, these two. Okay.
And the guy said to me, no, but you can't start this thing and then want to step down. Yeah. You started it.
Yeah.
Who must be the president of this thing when you are still part of it?
Yeah.
So in 98, I thought, hey, so I phoned James.
Okay. The guy.
Yes, and I said to him, I'm ready now. And he said to me, oh, okay, you called at the right time, because the UK directors are coming to South Africa in a month's time. So I'm going to tell them, I don't have a position for you, but I'm going to create a position for you.
Wow. It's how much you wanted to.
And he created the position. The UK directors came, I went to see them, I had a meeting with them, and they seemed to be happy that I joined the company.
But on that, because the into head hunting, is not happening to everybody. And I mean, we have a lot of unemployment, especially youth, and abanye kabantu, abanye they are retrenched and stuff. What could you maybe dedicate to your head hunting and your attitude towards izinto that abantu makes them to say, actually, I want to work with you? What are those? Maybe that's 3 on top of the list that you can think of.
Well, one work is an asset.
Okay.
When you have a job, you have an asset.
Sure.
So you need to treat your job
Okay.
in that.
Okay.
And treat it accordingly.
Sure.
Secondly, when you are given an opportunity, you need to show how much you're worth.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I probably I can say it.
Yeah.
I used to say to people, particularly black people.
Sure. Please.
When you are given an opportunity to stand in front of white people, they must eat from your hands.
Yeah.
They must eat from your hands. At the end of that, they must say, sure. There's something here. So be serious. Be serious about the opportunity
that you are given. Sure.
Take it very seriously.
Wow.
And thirdly, what you know, make sure you know.
Okay. Okay.
Whatever it is that you know.
No,
make sure that you are an expert in that area.
Wow.
You are an expert in that area, because the minute you can show that you are an expert in that area, no one will argue with you.
Wow, that's a good one. I believe in, especially in the third one, that what you know, you must really know, and perhaps even invest more to extend and expand the scope around that. Now, 2 things. One, your injustice, fighting of injustice, spotting it from far. You ended up with the BMF. There was you in the BMF at one stage. What position did you have there, and what was your contribution? Then, coupled with that, I wanted to hone in. We just had elections in May, 2 months ago. Now we were in July. Now there's collision that happened and stuff. What is your take also around government and collision and coalitions in this case? And what can you say around our country's state of affairs? From the BMF, because we were fighting injustice right there from the black people. I'm sure they actually captured what you said about black people, that they should be in this and this and that. So I would like you to package it for us just as you move.
BMF, I was they were still called regional presidents then.
Okay.
So I was the Western Cape regional president of the BMF in 2003.
Wow. Was the president that time?
No, Becky Sibia.
Oh,
and then it transitioned to Nolita.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, it was that.
Yes, it was that period.
Okay.
And
because you also worked with Prof. Mohal.
Yes. Yes, he was the deputy president.
That time.
Yeah, at that stage.
Okay.
Yes. BMF was a member since '99 when I became a director at Rento Cape.
Sure.
And then I became a member. Then I was brought in onto the board of the regional board of the BMF, the Western Cape.
Yeah.
And then in 2002, Themba Siolo, the late Themba Siolo, Uzizi, may his soul rest in peace.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still something. Themba was buried with his wife. He died, and soon after he died, before he got married, he got buried. His wife died.
Wow.
And they were married together. So Themba was the president, and then Themba got promoted at Sanlam as a distribution director.
Sure.
And he believed he needed to focus in that fully.
Okay.
And that was a huge responsibility.
Okay.
He needed to focus in that. He came back to the board and he said, you know what? I want to step down as president. I don't think I'm going to have enough time.
Sure.
And the board, I was not in that meeting, and the board said, what are we going to do? He said, no, but why don't you ask Mbulelo to step in?
Wow.
So I was not an elected president. I was asked to step in and finish Temba's term.
Yeah.
And on the basis of that, then I because I was going to be the interim acting president, I then became a member of the national board of the BMF.
Because it allows you to
during that time, and we did so much as the Western Cape.
Sure.
Because we are the first region that managed to bring the national conference of the BMF out of Johannesburg to Cape Town.
Wow.
And that happened in 2003 when I was president.
Wow.
I remember saying to the board, why is this conference always in Johannesburg?
Yeah.
They said, well, if you can put R1 million on the table
to
show us that you have sponsorship,
then
we can allow you to have it in the Western.
Cape.
I said, well, leave it with me. And within a short time, I was able to say, we've raised R1 million. Here are the promissory notes from companies that Engine gave us 400,000, FNB gave us 400,000, I think Caltex gave us 250,000.
Here's $1 million plus.
Yeah, here's R1 million, and they couldn't say no.
I also a fundraiser. I think that scale coming.
Yeah,
but also I think the when you grow up and then you were chairperson ball sports in your, so I see the trend because sometimes you learn this without knowing. Sometimes you get involved in things you don't know what the future holds for you. Yes. But if you take them serious and you deliver, as you said, later on they actually they work on your benefit later on. Could you say that?
No, absolutely. I mean, when I look at how many organizations and companies I've been chairman of, I go back to the football chairmanship.
Wow.
I mean, to become the chairman of a university council is not a small thing.
It can't be.
Particularly the biggest university in the Western Cape. The 7th biggest in the country,
yes,
with revenue of about 2.6 billion rands.
Wow.
And when you got into that university, the university had a deficit of about 5 million rands.
Wow.
And when you leave it, in 2016 or 17, I can't remember, and if you minus fees must fall.
Yeah.
In 2014, the university that I took with a 5 million deficit had 123 million surplus in 2014 before fees must fall.
Yeah, I sure. That's a mouthful. Wow. And this is befitting for our interview and in this month, because we are wanting to say there are living legends. There are people who made a difference. Sometimes because you're not in the political sphere, as you rightfully said in the beginning, because of the other element that you don't adhere and you don't approve of. Because as I'm sitting, I'm thinking there's a lot of difference, there's a lot of contribution that we have done for the country, from the Western Cape and to the country as a whole. Now on the government, maybe can you just swipe it through, because I would like to have a contribution on that, because for me your input is actually valuable for such.
I mean, as far as government is concerned, I'm one of the very disillusioned people.
Sure.
And my disillusionment is from the betrayal of those who have been in government.
Sure.
Of our people.
Sure.
I mean, if you look at how our people live.
Sure.
I was driving in Danun the other day, and I looked at this, and this betrayal just came back. That how can our people be betrayed in this way?
Wow.
How can our people live like this?
Yeah.
When there are people who live so large, and they are in government, and they have been voted by us, and I mean, there are people who are saying things like, but white people also stole money. I don't care about white people. Black people know how much black people suffered. They know.
Wow.
They know.
Wow.
And so I've always been one of those people who say, I don't trust governments.
Sure.
Because I have a feeling, it's not just a feeling, there's evidence that
Yeah.
they are in this thing for themselves,
Sure.
not for the people.
Okay.
If they were in this thing for the people, I can tell you now,
Sure.
we wouldn't be having the amount and the level of hunger
Sure.
that we have today.
Wow.
We wouldn't be having people.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not picking on him, but he stands out.
Yeah.
People think that you are picking on people when people just stand out.
Yeah, by themselves.
By themselves.
Yeah, and their actions.
If you build yourself a village worth 246 million rands,
Yeah.
with people's money,
Yeah.
you're going to stand out.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going.
Yeah.
That is large
Yeah.
for people who are living
Yeah.
in the squalor that our people are living.
Not even too far from the 250.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just
Absolutely.
around the corner.
What happened?
Yeah.
How did we get there?
Yeah.
How did we get there? So my vision
Yeah.
is outside of government.
Sure.
We can show
Yeah. True. I'm with
we
you.
can show that we can do things for
I'm
ourselves,
with you.
so that government can see that we don't need them
Yeah.
to do things.
Yeah.
To that extent,
Sure.
I mean, I can't talk more about it
Yeah.
now, but there's a project that I know when it starts,
Yeah.
it will resolve something that is a time bomb. It's a
Sure.
bomb waiting.
Sure.
It's an accident waiting to happen.
Wow. Wow.
NSFAS is an accident waiting to
Yeah.
happen.
Sure.
And the day that accident happens,
Then.
this country will be on fire.
Sure.
Because the people who will feel the heat
Yeah.
are young people.
Sure. Sure.
They are young people, and they will take this country on its head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we don't do something now,
Yeah.
so that when that time comes we can intervene,
Yeah.
we will all be in the boat.
Wow. Okay. Now we are about to close. We're just gonna hone in two or few things around, because on this government story, I will see that when the NGOs that do quite a number of things outside of government, and you could not be a politician, as you said, but you said, okay, now that I cannot be a politician and have the essence or that I should adopt lies, let me then found something else to fight the injustice in your own way. And I'm sure you're going to take us through. And then you gave birth and you founded Isiseko Family Institute. What is Isiseko Family Institute? Why was it born? What is it trying to achieve in the whole sphere of South Africa? But it's not only a Western Cape Institute, is a national, and I'm sure the vision is even bigger than just yes.
Yes. I mean, Isiseko, for me,
Yeah.
is a calling.
Sure.
It is something that God called me to.
Sure.
I can still hear
Wow.
him saying, "You must do something about families."
Okay.
And as a result, as a response to that, I started a married couples forum,
Okay.
which I still have the first document, but it never started.
Okay.
I started to have a program. This month we're going to discuss this. Next month,
Yeah.
this next for the whole year.
Yeah.
But it never started.
Sure.
And then I heard God saying, "I don't want you to start an organization about marriage. I want you to start an organization about
Family, which is a bigger and a broader.
about family."
Sure.
And at some point, I spoke to my wife about it. Even before Isiseko started,
Sure.
we've had to intervene in a number of family issues
Okay.
around our own family, around other families that would request us to do so. We have been speaking at weddings and so on. And in 2011, we decided that we are going to call a group of our friends who have families and share this vision with them,
Sure.
share this calling with them, which we did. and Isiseko was born. And Isiseko is a nation building movement.
Okay.
We are about nation building and one family at a time.
Sure.
When I look at government budgets,
Yeah.
and I'm saying to myself, one of the biggest things
Sure.
that the apartheid government
Sure.
have done
Sure.
was to destroy
Families.
families.
Sure.
And the reason why we have cash heists and
Yeah.
all these
Rate of crime.
rate of crime
Yeah.
we have, it's because the government that took over never focused on families.
Sure.
Never focused on rebuilding
Sure.
families.
Sure.
Now you can't resolve
Wow.
and solve a problem from a macro level.
Sure.
You need to start at micro.
Yeah.
So if this country wants to solve crime,
Yeah.
they can't start at a national and provincial budgets. They need to start at family level, one family at a
Locally,
time.
yeah.
Yes,
Locally.
we need to start with one family at a time, and we will not have the kind of budget that we require. There's no way that crime can be resolved by an approach that starts at that level.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
We need to invest in families
Yeah.
as the country
Yeah.
and see what product will come out of that investment.
Would you also say thank you? Oh, this is actually very powerful because that family disablement, it was done intentionally. So if then people are doing things intentionally to destroy a certain component of a society, as you take over as government, you should be intentional about
Absolutely.
making sure. I think that's what you are saying in a nutshell.
Absolutely.
Intentional. So that maybe could also cut off even the jails that are so full.
Yes.
Because there are people that are in jail and without being interpreted negatively, we know that there are people that are in jail that they are not supposed to be there. And if you can sit down and talk to them, find out that, look, I was doing this because of A and B and C, and it was a positive thing that I wanted to achieve, but in a negative way.
Yeah.
So Isiseko then comes on a family environment. What are the things that you do in a family setup as a way of impacting the society, as it were?
Now, if we want to heal the family, which is under tremendous strain at the moment,
Sure.
we need to heal the participants.
Sure.
We need to take a journey of healing
Sure.
towards effective headship,
Sure.
effective leadership of the family.
Sure.
And unfortunately, as we speak now, men who are bestowed the headship of
Sure.
the family,
Yeah.
who are bestowed leaders of the family,
Yeah.
are going through so much
Sure.
in terms of being wounded.
Sure.
Now, we then, when we receive all these negative things, we then want to just deal with issues at the level of woundedness,
Okay.
at the level of we should be stepping back
Yeah.
and say, what is the source?
Sure.
What is the source of this problem?
Sure.
The source of this problem is a young man whose father promised that he was going to meet him at Sale's house.
Back in the days, yeah.
Back in the days,
Yeah.
at Sale's house to buy him shoes.
Yeah.
And that young man is still waiting for those shoes up
this
to today.
Wow.
Up to today, still waiting for those shoes. And he is now a father. What do you think he's going to do when he promises things to his own children?
Yeah.
He might go back to what he experienced.
Sure.
So we need to deal with our adverse childhood experiences.
Sure.
And in fact, I was talking to my wife this morning, and she was saying something like, we need to clean the vessel.
Okay.
We need to clean, the vessel is dirty.
Yeah.
We need to clean the vessel so that we can pour what is healthy in this vessel.
Yeah.
So that when this vessel is dishing out,
Can dish out something
it can
clean.
dish out something clean and healthy.
Wow.
If we have to be fathers and husbands, we need to deal with our wounds first.
Yeah.
For instance, in the retreat that we had,
that was in June.
That was in June, yes.
Sure.
You would have seen that how we modeled the retreat was, the first day was around helping men deal with issues of depression, anxiety, anger, conflict, and saying to them, these are the negative emotions that make you not to be effective in your responsibility as a father and a husband. So we need to deal with that first. Before we can then on Saturday say to you, this is how to be a father, and fathers matter.
So you're cleaning the vessel.
We're cleaning the vessel first. And then we are then going to pour in
on a clean vessel.
With the hope that this clean vessel would be pouring out a spirit that would be welcomed by his family, and that would be felt by his family in a much positive way than it is currently. So that's what Isiseko is doing. Isiseko is creating a wall where the families that are really breaking apart can use to
Wow, that's a good one.
Yes, because of what is happening.
Can you also say because of that? So I like it when you said one family at a time, one man at a time. I think it's slogan in one of the t-shirts. It says, "We want to save the world, but man first. Man first." Now I want to go to a point 80. With the group, we did not have a million number of men. It was a good number to start with, but the expectations that percentage that was there, ingatritheleka to other, as one of saying we're building a nation, as you said, but one family, one man at a time. Is that the whole?
Absolutely, and that's the biblical concept of multiplication. Those who are there, definitely. Must hear the message and take the message to others who are not there, and that's how the message will go. Because we will not be able to touch everyone. As is said.
I was there for your information, and some of us. One of the things that I participate in Isiseko as a married man, as a family man, we don't have point of reference from where we come from. So Isiseko then helps you to be a point of reference. Because the question that is answering Isiseko says, but if it's not these men now, who will? If it's not these men now, who will? Because the scourge is happening, the jails are full, the crime, the heist, and the dysfunctionality of your families is not happening until someone stands up. But who will if it's not? You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me, if the whole humanity of the family has been what's the correct, has been abused, has been violated, and hence you find things within families that you shouldn't find. I mean, how do you find within the same family people killing each other?
It becomes a norm.
And
it's supported by others.
Absolutely, it's something.
It's also funded.
It's something that the community does not frown upon. It's something that the community just accepts as one of those things that has happened. Now, you can't tell me that a family was created for that.
Yeah.
It should be something that, and that can only tell you that
Wow.
the humanity of the family itself
Wow.
has been so violated,
Yeah.
has been so abused, that we don't know what family is anymore.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you for that, Tata. Yo, thank you for that. I think just on our last two engagements before CBC Ivala, yeah, Isiseko for me it's a movement, and it just makes sense. And I hope whoever that is listening, especially men, should come and join. And obviously, we're gonna give some information later before we close. On that journey, you also, what are the other things that you can tie in? What is the circle plan for the next year or two, and what is the bigger vision? I heard you like you are also raising some funds, and you wanted to achieve a certain goal, etc. Is there, do you want to share anything about that?
Yes, I mean, where we are going, we believe Isiseko should be the healing well.
Sure.
Where people come for healing.
Sure.
And what that then means is that we need a facility.
Sure. Okay.
Where people will go to.
Sure.
For various interventions.
In search of healing.
In search of healing.
Sure.
Because the issue is healing.
Sure.
We have people who are really wounded.
Sure.
So much that they are bleeding on others.
Sure.
And
Wow.
those that they are bleeding on are not the reason of their woundedness.
Sure.
They got wounded at home. And for instance, I get married and all my wounds from home, which I have never dealt with.
Yeah.
I come into marriage and then I just bleed on my wife.
Yeah.
Because we've never dealt with the wounds that we have.
And that marriage can't be healthy.
No. So Isiseko is there to walk with people in that journey of healing.
Wow.
And when we have healed, we start to empower people on how to live as a family.
Wow.
Empower men on how to lead a family. Empower women on how to be a helper to your husband.
Sure.
Because the Bible just says, God says, I'll make a helper suitable for you.
Sure.
And he doesn't say, what is this helping?
Yeah.
How can I practice this helping? It's said, in no way it is said, and guess what? Wives then decide how they want to help. And it is in that decision that creates a problem, because you're helping a man who is not too sure he needs help.
Yes.
Secondly, he might not appreciate how you help him.
Yeah.
But if there's somewhere, like within his circle, where we are talking about how do you help a man?
Sure.
And to the man, how do you create space for your wife to help you?
Sure.
Because your wife is not here just as an ornament.
Yeah.
She's here to help you build this family. Okay. And therefore you need to create space for her to help you.
Wow. So as much as Isiseko, thank you for that again, is building wall for you, they also assist you to break down your own walls to allow the flow within the family. Now, with the issue, your infrastructure that you want to have, I'm reminded of the institutions that are dealing with the outside part of your doctors, they have. You find out that they have a medical institution where you find doctors with amehlo and different doctors that people go in as a one-stop shop. So I'm seeing Isiseko as one-stop shop at dealing with the healing from within, inside to outside. Am I correct?
You are absolutely. Our approach is to deal with the inner person.
Yeah.
The inner person who is wounded. It's the inner person who's wounded.
Sure.
All the other things we see come from inside.
From the inside. Now that takes me to our last point that I want us to engage. I think you remember that politics because of the other element. Then he decided, he made a power decision to say, I want to make a difference in the society, but this is then how I'm going to make a difference. And of course, he is dedicating this to the calling, which Uchiko called him to form Isiseko, which we know because we are part of Isiseko ourselves. We do attend the programs of Isiseko, and it's very effective. And anyone who wants in to be effective and be balanced, I would like to invite you to actually join Isiseko, and you see for yourself. I know that when we come in something new, you don't want to throw yourself, Kuyo. Try it, okay? Try it as we tried, and then you see how the results will be. We do that Bikwani. The power of decision is in 3 categories. We do entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We interview entrepreneurs. They talk about themselves and stuff. We do Yohani in our previous one. Then we do business leaders, which is your Prof Mohale, which we had our first and stuff. Then the 3rd category is committee builders, committee leaders, which that's the category that you fall on. And it's a Mandela month, it's a Legends month. You look like a legend yourself, even with your gray hair, with all your friends. And at one stage, you worked with Desmond, Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And of course, there are a couple of things that you've I think you shared something about what you guys, the commonalities, and I'm sure there are 1 or 2 fathers of democracy that maybe you can quote as we close. But actually, there are certain things, and there are some legends and some lessons that, at least if they are not more around, but we can also pick from those, because abantu, they don't die with what they did. They die because umzimba wakhe, but izinto that they've done and things that they've said, they must be remembered. And I think you are that kind of person. But let's extract what is good, and I would like to link it with Utatu Desmond, which was a popular figure in our country. And maybe you can quote 1 or 2, one of the leaders that you say, with this community leadership that you are in, and making a nation building through Isiseko, these are the things that we can leave us with. And also usinikeza amazwi okuqinisa nokusomeleza endleleni yempilo yezidwe.
I had the privilege.
Sure.
In fact, it was a rare privilege to work with the Arch.
Yeah.
And I was clear that in working with him, God was giving me an opportunity to see certain things.
Sure.
Not just for myself, but for the journey I'm in with his circle.
Yeah.
Things that I should do and things that I shouldn't do.
Sure.
And I can tell you now that working with the Arch was an opportunity for me to see how to carry the burdens of others on your shoulders.
Sure.
I worked with a man who literally carried the burdens of other people on his shoulders.
Sure.
And how did I see that? It doesn't matter where you go. The Arch at a particular time must go and pray.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
You are in the US, you are in Botswana, you are wherever. Anywhere. At the time that he must go and pray,
you go.
He stops everything and he goes to pray.
Wow.
And I think when I saw that, I thought, sure, this is what God wants me to see here. This is what God wants to teach.
That's a discipline on another level.
It is a discipline
on another level.
The Arch would never have a car move without him praying first. When he gets into a car, he says to the driver, just hang on, hang on. And he prays. And then the car can move.
Yes.
So the discipline of prayer from him
Sure.
is a big thing, particularly when you are carrying
Yeah.
national and or global burden.
Sure. Sure.
Because that man carried a
Quite a
global
lot,
burden.
yeah.
Now we're carrying a burden of families,
Sure.
which is a national and a global burden.
Yeah.
So I really would like to thank God for
having that time.
For really having that time with him, for me to learn that.
And you were at the helm of the organization.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if I have to, as I close quote, any a leader,
yeah,
I still believe that our leaders need to understand what humility means.
Okay.
Humility in leadership.
Sure.
You know, there is no one that I have heard up to today who was as humble as Mangaliso Robert Sobukwe.
Wow.
The story that is told about Sobukwe,
yeah,
was that when the prof was going to town, he'll be walking to town.
Wow.
And he will greet everybody, everyone.
Yeah.
Just on the street.
Yeah.
He'll be greeting
ordinary people.
Ordinary people.
Sure.
He'll be greeting each one of them. Udibana nabantu estratweni, Prof is greeting all of them.
Wow. Wow.
And besides that, I get much more encouraged when I heard the late Judge Yvonne Mohoro,
sure,
that actually she was encouraged by Prof to become a lawyer.
Wow.
When Prof was representing them,
yes,
and she said, but where are the female lawyers? And Prof said, why don't you become one?
Yeah.
Why don't you become one? And Sis Yvonne, who was a very close friend of ours and a patron of Isiseko at some point,
sure,
said, from that day I decided I'm going to be one.
Wow.
I'm going to be one. So I still believe that the humility of our leaders must come to the people.
Sure.
I think they are far away,
yeah,
from where the people are. And when you are far away from the people, you can't represent them. Yeah. You can't have their interest at heart.
Best interest.
You can't have.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Tata. This was mouthful. We could spend another 2 to 3 hours because there's a lot that we can discuss. But because of time and what we wanted to achieve for this, I'm sure we're going to have part 2. I don't know, our director will tell us that we should have a part 2 where we can talk about other things. Because Tata Bikwani, as a legend, look at the gray hair. That was gray hair. I saw gray hair during breakfast. So I'm sure we're going to have part 2. But for what we have covered, thank you very much, Tata. And we hope that people are going to capture what is necessary and what is good. From the community leader point of view, also like the senior people, because there's a path that we have walked, and people can actually can take some lessons, especially the youth, the young professionals, the young entrepreneurs, and people like ourselves who still wants to make a difference. Yeah. We want to drink from that well. Absolutely. And ensure that the proximity is important. You see, proximity must be. So as you're watching, please just get a legend that you can also talk to for your own benefit, that you can be guided. As someone said, you must have associate yourself with people. Actually, it was you. It was you. I almost quoted. I also thought of someone else. That must have 2 or 3 people that can support you in different spheres.
Yes.
The one with your same similar age, yes. That you can actually talk loosely.
Your table of influence.
A table of influence. Then there's other category that is your senior, that you can also things as a calculator that you can bounce with them. In all, because life brings curveballs, so you at least must be balanced on that. So it was actually the same legend that actually imparted that to me, which means the proximity is good. Thank you very much. We'll see you in our next episode.